Hi, I'm Eric Arnold, and I'm going to review my EDL 850 case study. Okay, section 1. So, summarize the case and establish the facts. So, what I learned so far are that PTA monies have been used to purchase computers and computer programs. Teachers have asked for copies because they want to use them in their classes as well. So therefore, copies were made and distributed by Mrs. Lynn, the library/media specialist. The administration, by that I mean the principal in the building, was not informed that this was happening. As far as the teachers go, most of them enjoy the fact that they're getting the flash drives and don't see a problem with it. However, one teacher, Mrs. Brandon, she is concerned with copyright infringement, which you are not allowed to copy those programs onto flash drives and things. So that is a valid concern. So Mr. Sample's concerns, that would be, of course, the copyright infringement. He doesn't know that's happening. His concerns, of course, are for his teachers, school, the students, what's going to happen in the district. Those would all be concerns that I would have. And then Mrs. Lynn's response wasn't exactly, she didn't seem to take the criticism well. So there's going to need to be some both repercussions and some discussions about things when it comes to Mrs. Lynn. So that is what I know so far about the case. Okay, so the legal and ethical issues. So as far as people being harmed, physically no one will be harmed. However, legally, so Mrs. Lynn, first of all, she has infringed on the copyright, so that is something that she can get into a lot of trouble for. Other teachers knowingly using that can also get in trouble because they are also infringing on the rules if they are knowingly using a copy when they know they shouldn't. There's definitely legal repercussions for the school and the district, although I don't know if that would come directly on the school, as in like the individual school, or does that go to the district? I'm unsure how that works. What I do know is you cannot copy purchase programs. That's part of section 117. You can't make a copy of programs and distribute them, and you cannot own or use a known made copy that you're not supposed to have. I did look up our Board of Education policy because I don't have board policies for that school. What I did find in our policy, it strictly says that if you infringe on copyright, the board and the district does not need to represent you legally, and their insurance will also not protect you. That's in our contract. That is our policy. So what I think needs to happen immediately is those samples need to be, Mr. Sample, those copies need to be collected. And I think that his superiors need to be informed for further instruction. Although I know that it is a copyright infringement, as I said, I don't know what the legal ramifications for the district are for that. So I would need more information when it comes to that. So my statement as to what happened, Mrs. Lynn, the library media specialist with seemingly good intentions, knowingly copied computer programs to distribute to the teachers of my building, which is infringing on the copyright law. Okay, so section 4, evaluate facts that are missing. So people, the superintendent is a missing factor. Again, I've always learned that you want to inform your superior as soon as possible. This is something that is possibly going to affect the district. So my first call would be to the superintendent to discuss the situation and find out what I need to do. Does our school attorney need to be involved? I would assume that that is something that we would probably want to look at because this is a legal infringement. My teachers are all involved, although I don't have any information on what they feel or think about it except for Mrs. Lynn and Mrs. Brandon. There could be some legal issues for them as well, as I discussed with them using programs that they knowingly have that should not be copied. I also need to figure out what to do with the PTA president. Obviously, they were trying to do something good for our school. So I need to figure out the best way to talk to Mrs. Evans and discuss the situation that we're facing. As far as the place goes, I can't think of any information that I'm missing as far as the place. This took place at our school. This is being passed around in our school. So I'm not, I don't believe I'm missing any information there. For the programs, information I'm missing, I'm wondering what the copyright license agreement says. Oftentimes, we can't make copies of that program and share it, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't be downloaded onto the school computer and checked out of the library and used within a class. So I need to check that out and see what's happening with that. Of course, you need to know what your board policies are for this, so that you're informed of what your district is supportive of, not supportive of, and what happens in that instance. And I also do not know if there is a teacher handbook and what it says in there about copyright policies, if anything. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Section 5. Okay. Evaluate and prioritize the information. So what I know is Mrs. Lynn has copied these computer programs and the copies have been passed out. I need to get those copies back in my hands and make sure that they're not still floating around. I think that's the first step. District office, again, has yet to be informed, and that also needs to happen. I'm not sure, again, if the lawyers will need to be put into place in that, or what will happen. Excuse me, I messed this up again. So I need to look at that. I need to look at my board policies and see what's in place for that. Again, do I need to talk to the school attorney? Is that something that district office does? Is that somebody I need to contact myself? That's something I will find out when I talk to district office. As far as the copyright infringement damage, of course, to the district, I believe, as I said before, I don't know if my school would be directly sued or if the district would be sued, but either way, it's not good PR for the district. It's definitely not good financially for either. As far as the teacher goes, as the damages, so in Mrs. Lynn's case, she directly made the copies. So I don't know if the legal ramifications for her would be different from other teachers that are knowingly using the copies. But again, that is copyright infringement damage that could happen to teachers as well because they are using them. So that could come back on them. So either way, I know a plan needs to be put into place for this. Okay, options for improving and developing a plan. So I could do nothing. I don't think that's a good choice, but it is always a choice to do nothing and just let it go. My second choice that would be my choice that I would choose would be to gather all copied flash drives and find out what I have to do next. Another plan that I could put into place is Mrs. Brandon has a problem with this. I could let her take care of the situation and talk to district office. I could just let district office handle it completely and just take myself out of the equation, although I don't think that's a good option either, nor letting Miss Brandon take care of it. We're a team. We need to work together as a team in my school. I could get my own lawyer and just cover my own person. However, again, this is a team. If you want your school to believe in you, you have to believe in your school. You have to work together, and I believe this problem needs to be fixed. So option number 2, gather all the copied flash drives and find out what to do next, would be the option that I would go with. So that is what my plan is going to be when I thought about that. For the pros, it's the best interest for all stakeholders. It's the best interest for teachers, students, the district, my school. Let's do our very best to take care of this issue, to learn from it, and to make sure it doesn't happen again. Illegal copies will not be in circulation, so that's a good pro. When I find out what to do next, if there are legal steps that need to be taken, they will be taken as necessary because I will know about those. And the pros are policies will be followed from here on. With the plan I came into place, I did put a step in there that would be reviewing this every year. So policies hopefully will be followed from here on. So for the cons, I really thought a lot about, so do I collect the flash drives first or do I call district office? Because with it being such a legal issue, I want the powers to be to know as soon as possible, but I also don't want teachers that may have not used any of them, we could take that legal thing right off of their plate if I had them in my hand. So I'm torn on what to do first. I feel like I should collect the drives since I just came from talking to Mrs. Lynn, and then immediately go and talk to district office. The cons are going to be repercussions for Mrs. Lynn. She does need to have some sort of disciplinary action taken. That is something that we cannot happen in our school. And although I don't believe it needs to be anything like losing her job or anything, something needs to happen. And another con might be PTA, teacher possible dislike. Although I understand, again, that they are trying to do their best for the school, it might come down to a dislike for myself because I'm taking away an option that they thought was both economical and in the best interest for the students. So, developing my plan, and when I'm developing them, I was thinking about how is this going to affect my students, teachers, my school as a whole. So for the students, they're going to continue to receive instruction. It will be within the law. Their teachers will not be worried about anything that's going to happen, hopefully, so that won't be something that takes away from their instruction. As far as my teachers go, they'll not be in legal jeopardy when I get rid of those flash drives, get them back from them so they're not using them. And the training that I want to put into place, everyone's going to benefit from that. They're going to know the rules. They're going to keep them in the forefront of their mind, and it's going to make hopefully everyone feel safer. As far as the school goes, the same thing. We're going to benefit from that yearly copyright training and them copyright reminders. Knowing what the fair use laws are, what we can and can't do, to have that put up somewhere in our building, especially maybe by the copy machine, would be a great idea in my opinion. Okay, so my plan. This is what I would like to happen. So, right off the bat with that meeting, I would like to just work with Mrs. Lynn. Although she's unhappy with me, let's get all those flash drives in my hand so that I have them all. I'm going to take the ones that she has there getting ready to use. I want to collect all those, have them in my hot little hands, and then I am going to let Mrs. Lynn know that we'll discuss this further later, and I need to contact my superintendent. So in contacting the superintendent, I hope to get further instruction of what I need to do, what our policies are, and the chain of command, I guess, that I need to follow, if any, beyond the superintendent. Do we need to contact our district lawyer? Is that something that I need to do? Is that something that he does? Is that something the board has to do? Is that something that I'm going to be a part of it all? I'm unsure. Second, I would like to know what exactly I should do with Mrs. Lynn. I have some ideas on what I would like to do. I personally feel like she just needs a write-up and some discussion, but I don't know what the district rules would be for that, if any, again. And I also would like some guidance on how to talk to Mrs. Evans, our PTO, about this. I believe a simple discussion would be best. That's what I would like to do, is just talk to her about, hey, we understand, but this is against the law and we can't be doing that. And I'm sure she'll understand as well, but I don't know if I should inform the PTO right away or if that's something that I should let go. I'm unsure at this point. So my next step within step 2 is, once I get those steps, is to complete those steps that are given, contact who I need to contact, and begin processes that I need to do through district office to make sure that all our legal requirements are being met. So my next thing that I'd like to do is I would like to investigate the copyright policy for the programs we've purchased, solely to know, can they be borrowed? I know that a lot of times when we've purchased things, we've talked about district licensing. So programs that I have, I know that I have purchased that. I can have it put on my computer. I can let the class next door to me use that particular program, CD or whatever. It is on their computer, but they have to have that CD in their computer to use it so that they know that it's not copied. It is directly from the program. If that's something that we can do, I think we can come up with a good plan to be able to check some of those programs out of the library when they're not being used in the computer labs, so that everyone can use those programs, but they can be used legally. So it might not be that the copyright might not lead to that, but I'd like to find ways that would lead to that so we can figure that out. My next step is I want to set up a copyright PD. Whether this is a 15-minute reminder during a weekly PD during a plan time, maybe this is something that we do during a faculty meeting. It doesn't really matter when that happens, but I believe if we went over those rules and they were in place, then everyone would know. We can do some reminders without it being, oh, you did this, you did that. It's just a, hey, let's get this out there so that we all can remember. With that, then I would like to come up with a presentation, whether it is a video like this, if it's a PowerPoint, a Prezi, anything like that, but some kind of presentation that I can present to my staff to remind them of the copyright infringement rules. I would also like to create some type of infographic or poster to put up by my copy machines so that that's just something there that we can all remember. After that happens, I'd like to get some reflection from the staff on what they thought about that, if they thought that would be helpful, what I could do to improve it. And as that goes on from year to year, I would like to begin to plan for yearly copyright PD. Again, maybe this is just a 15-minute back to school. Hey, remember this? We do it at the beginning of the year. Maybe we do it at Christmas time. We all have ways we're trying to stretch our dollars for kids. And I know that no one is doing things that are intentionally going to harm themselves or harm our district. So just knowing the rules and being able to do that together, I think, is a good solid plan at this point. So my desired outcomes, again, will be that everyone remembers and knows what the copyright rules are and what the fair use terms are. If this plan doesn't work out, maybe some of the legal processes are going to come into play, and I hope that that doesn't happen for anyone. There could be some firing of people, including myself, although I wouldn't think that that would happen. It's immediately being addressed. So as far as Mrs. Lynn goes, depending on what DO tells me per the policies and what the board feels about that, I do need to have a discussion with her. I think the first thing that I need to remember is that I am a person of authority, and although you want to be compassionate and understanding, and I'm not trying to be just a disciplinarian. I do need to keep that position of authority in mind so that Mrs. Lynn understands that I'm talking to her as her boss and not just a run-of-the-mill colleague in this moment. So I also really believe that she needs a formal write-up. This does not need to be, oh, you're going to be fired, unless that's something that the district office and the board chooses. But there does need to be some kind of write-up issued. You knowingly did this. You know why you shouldn't do it. Things like that, just so she understands. Just because we're adults does not mean that we shouldn't get consequences, and she needs some kind of consequence. My only other worry and consequence of this plan is the PTO backlash. Mrs. Lynn had stated that they're on board with us stretching the money, so I hope they understand what the laws are. I believe that will be okay with just a discussion, and well, you just kind of, with that, like, you communicate your needs, you communicate your understanding, and again, I think that that will be okay, but it is a possibility that there is some backlash. So looking through this, going through this project, I was not only able to look at copyright policies and laws that we have learned about and apply them, but I really thought about a lot of the different ways that we've presented our information we've learned this year, like the Prezzies or the Canvas, the infographics, and what I could do to not only make a good presentation that would not be boring for my staff, but also have those graphics that could go by the copy machines or in the teacher's classrooms so that they have them right at hand so it's easy for them to have. It was relevant to my learning because although I was immediately aware, I knew what the problem was. As soon as I read the case study, I was just like, ooh, you can't do that. But I had to think about different ways to form a plan for this because other classes that I've done case studies have been more my world. This I really had to think about a lot more, and what kind of things would I need to put into place as a principal, and how would I go about this so that everyone feels happy, healthy, and our climate continues to remain good. When I was reflecting, I thought, I can't believe someone did this, but I'd also brought into play that things that I would think of common knowledge we can't do may not be to others, so there might be some little trainings like this that need to be taken place. It might be just creating a quick infographic to share with the teachers for them to look at or to put up in the office by the mailboxes or something. What an easy, quick way to communicate what our needs are and how to get things better. And yeah, it was good to think about different ways of getting information out to the staff rather than the run-of-the-mill emails that we all get 50 of. It seems like a day, and we don't always have time to weed out. So yeah, I really enjoyed working on this one. I did use some references. The board docs was my board policies. These other two were just copyright and digital files for things that I looked up to reference. And thank you. I hope that answered all the questions, and I really enjoyed this class. Have a great day.